On Saturday mornings during the summer, I get up super early so I can hit the local farmers market as soon as they open. And the prize for my punctuality is a pint, or maybe two, of sweet cream ice cream. I love that unadulterated cream flavor. They always sell out early, so Dan is going to show me a version I can make at home so I don't have to get up so early.
I know, that's all I want is for you to have a nice restful Saturday.
You know, you really care.
I really do care. So we're gonna start with non-fat dry milk powder. This is a half a cup plus a third of a cup. Slightly unusual for home cooks making ice cream. It's really common in the commercial world.
Okay.
And what this is gonna do is actually gonna change the proportion of solids to liquid in the mix. To that, I'm gonna add a third of a cup of sugar. Now, sugar obviously makes the ice cream sweet, but it has a far more important role in here. It actually depresses the freezing point of the mix and it keeps more of the water from turning to ice in the first place. So it's really important to get the sugar right. So we have a third of a cup there. And finally, a quarter teaspoon of kosher salt. This is primarily just for flavor. So I'm gonna whisk this together. Milk powder, when it hits a liquid, has a tendency to clump up. So adding the sugar in there, it gets in the way of all of the milk powder so it doesn't clump. Now it's time for our liquid component, and we're using a pretty classic ratio of 50% milk, whole milk, and 50% cream. So I'm gonna start here with just 1 1/4 cups of milk. We're gonna use a quarter cup later, and I'm gonna add 1 1/2 cups of heavy cream. I'm also gonna add a quarter of a cup of corn syrup. Now, this is a really key ingredient as well. Corn syrup is less sweet than sugar, but it provides a lot of the same benefits. So it'll help control water. We'll get something that's really rich and creamy without a lot of iciness. So now we're gonna whisk in our milk powder, sugar, and salt mixture. So now I'm gonna heat this over medium-high heat. We're gonna bring it up to 190 degrees. It's gonna take probably 5 to 7 minutes. And there are two goals here. One is to dissolve that sugar, dissolve that milk powder, and the other is to get it to a hot enough temperature to gel our cornstarch, which is the next thing that we're gonna work on.
Okay.
Cornstarch is gonna be one of our really important stabilizers here. So I have 5 teaspoons of cornstarch and I'm adding it to that quarter cup of milk that I referenced before. And you'll see this base is gonna be really thick compared to some other bases that you've worked with. And that's really nice. It's gonna give a nice richness to the final ice cream.
Loving it.
I've been checking it and I think we're very close. Let's look here, we're looking for 190 and that looks perfect. That's
Excellent.
Great. So I'm just gonna whisk the cornstarch slurry to recombine. Sometimes that cornstarch will settle out and then we'll go right into our pot. I'm gonna cook this for about 30 seconds and I'm gonna scrape along the bottom. Again, as it thickens, that can form a layer. It's really easy to have that happen. So scraping along the bottom is really good practice anytime you're working with, adding a slurry to something. And we're gonna watch this thicken up really nicely in about 30 seconds. Okay, great, that looks beautiful. Turn off the heat. And we're gonna strain this immediately. Obviously, there can always be little clumps when you're working with a slurry like this. It's just good practice to put it through a strainer. Beautiful. So we're gonna let this cool on the counter until it's no longer steaming, no longer super hot, and then pop it in the fridge for at least 6 hours. We wanna get it down to 40 degrees, which is the temperature of most fridges. So when this goes into our ice cream maker, we want it to freeze as quickly as possible. Fast freezing equals small ice crystals.
At Cooks Illustrated, we're food nerds. That's why every recipe we develop involves research, cooking science, and rigorous testing by our team of expert test cooks, before being tested by our dedicated community of 40,000 home cooks. Only the highest rated recipes earn a place in our award-winning magazine. Every issue features our latest recipes and discoveries, cooking tips, and equipment and ingredient reviews. Our step-by-step photos and hand-drawn illustrations show you exactly how to succeed. What you won't see, even a single page of advertising. We've worked for home cooks like you for over 30 years. So, are you ready to become the best cook you know? Subscribe to Cooks Illustrated magazine at cooksillustrated.com today.
So it's time to churn. I'm gonna get the canister straight from the freezer.
Okay.
With this kind of ice cream maker, it's incredibly important that this is well chilled. This is all of your cooling power right here, and you don't get any more of it while it's sitting out here. So at least 24 hours, preferably up to 48 hours in the freezer ahead of time. We now have our fully chilled base.
Very cold.
And I just want to prove it to you. We've got 40 degrees. So an ice cream machine is actually a really simple thing. We've got our cooling surface. In this case, it's the canister that was in the freezer. Then we have a dasher, and this has a nice, relatively sharp blade, and that's gonna scrape the ice cream that solidifies on the walls into the center, and it's gonna keep doing that the whole process. So that goes in, and then we just put our lid on top. That holds the dasher centered, and the canister actually spins.
Perfect.
And then we just turn it on, and we're gonna get our base in there. And during this process, a couple of really key things are happening. We're incorporating some air, so it lightens the ice cream a bit, and we're creating lots of tiny little ice crystals. So we're gonna let this go until it's 21 degrees and soft serve consistency, which can take up to about 30 minutes.
Okay.
All right, so take a look in here. We've got some beautiful soft serve ice cream. Doesn't that look so good? So I'm just gonna take the temp, and again, we're looking for about 21 degrees, and we are right there. That's awesome. So I'm gonna turn this off. Take our top off. So take this out. And we'll pull up our dasher first. Isn't that so beautiful? I'm gonna scrape off the dasher first and get it right into our container. Just look at that. It's hard not to eat the ice cream at this point, you know?
And you can. But like you said, it's soft serve at this point.
Yep. Final step before we pop it in the freezer is to just make sure you get rid of as many air pockets as you can. Pack it in there really nicely. And that looks great. Just pop on our lid. So we've got a quart of future hard ice cream here. We're gonna put it in the freezer for at least 2 hours to firm up. Overnight or longer is totally fine. We're gonna pop it in there and then we can eat soon. So our ice cream has been hardening for 2 hours, and this is the most simple presentation possible because it's sweet cream ice cream, right? We want to taste that beautiful dairy. No toppings, just some nice cones. And we'll get our scoop in there. Oh yeah, that's beautiful.
Lovely.
Cheers.
Cheers. Silky smooth.
Silky smooth. Yep.
Not a crystal insight.
Yep.
I love the flavor of sweet cream ice cream. It almost has a buttery taste to it because you really taste that good quality dairy. So how long does the ice cream stay good?
It can actually last a lot longer than a lot of homemade ice creams because we have so many good stabilizers in there. So 5 days in the freezer and it's gonna be really good still.
I think I'm gonna sleep in this Saturday.
You are?
Yeah,
Mission accomplished.
mission accomplished. Thanks, Dad. Well, if you wanna make this beautiful ice cream at home, add milk powder to the base to reduce the water in the recipe. Use corn syrup for a creamy texture. And thicken the base with cornstarch before freezing. So from America's Test Kitchen, a simple summer pleasure, sweet cream ice cream. You can get this recipe and all the recipes from this season, along with product reviews and select episodes on our website. That's americastestkitchen.com/TV. Thank goodness, I thought that was gonna be gone.
We hope you enjoyed this video as much as we enjoyed making it.
Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel.
And if you're ready to take your cooking to the next level, head over to americastestkitchen.com and get a free all-access trial membership.
While you're there, you can sign up for our free email newsletters and download our app.
With unlimited access to over 14,000 of our Test Kitchen recipes and 8,000 product reviews, you'll have everything you need to cook and learn.
So I ask, what are you waiting for?
Let's make something great together.